So welcome you all for this wonderful session going to be presented by Professor Dr. R. Tirunilakandan, Department of Chemistry, UCE BIT Campus, Tiruchirappalli. With much pleasure, I welcome the resource person for this forum because he is such a simple man who is down to earth for in each and every activities. Whenever we supposed to go and render help means immediately he'll respond. And next one, he achieves so many things with his silent character without knowing to anyone. He's doing many activities. Welcome you, sir, on this forum. Sir has received BSc Chemistry from Government Arts College, C. Muthlur Chidambaram, and MSc Chemistry from Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda College, Chennai, MPhil and PhD from Annamalai University. At the year 1999, Sir has cleared both NET and SLET at a time, and he has vast years of research and teaching experience, more than 20 years. For his cool and kind behavior, Sir has posted for head of the department in the chemistry for 16 years, deputy controller of examination for the examinations conducted by Bharatdasan University, and first year coordinator from the beginning of this institution till now. He is the first year coordinator and chairman in anti-ragging committee because of his coolness. So proud to call him a school captain. And next one, there are so many additional responsibilities he has doing. Naming few, is a verification committee member for fixing the daily wages salary to the technical staff members as well as the casual laborers, hospital committee member, NBA Center pool committee member, Anna University affiliation inspection committee coordinator, and coordinator for graduation committee. As a convener, coordinator, organizing secretary, he has conducted n number of workshops, seminars, and FDPs, everything in a smooth manner. That is a very important one we have to share here. Everyone can conduct the program, but with his coolness, not to make anyone tension and not to give any singing in his work. He is doing all activities silently and clearly. That is why everyone here recognized him for his kindness. Sir has completed 2 MTech candidates and 4 PhD scholars. Now 2 candidates are undergoing research in Sir's guidance. Sir has published more than 20 international and national journals and presented paper in more than 30 national and international conferences. We welcome you, sir, on this forum to share your research ideas about vermicompositing methods for the organic materials and all. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam, for your very nice introduction.
Sir, இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் ஆடியபிளா இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்கும் சார். Presentation மோடுக்கு வாங்க சார். Yes, sir. The audio is very less. Video, sir. Video also, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, welcome you to this forum.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your very nice introduction.
Yes, sir.
My PowerPoint is visible, madam?
No, sir, not it, sir. sir, now it is visible. It is
Okay,
clear,
ma'am.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to all. The Atal AICT FTP on strategies and outcomes to enhance sustainable green environment, organized by Department of Chemistry, University College of Engineering, BIT campus, Anna University. I am Dr. R. Trinilakandan, Professor of Chemistry, University College, Anna University, Trichy. So today my topic is restoration of agricultural waste into organic fertilizer by vermicomposting technology. A brief introduction. The growing speed of agricultural waste due to the large scale of urbanization and the outcome of economic development has become a trouble that produces the massive quantities of waste and causes a serious environmental crisis which is not easy for management. The management of agricultural waste has grown to be one of the major problems. The major problem is management of agricultural waste. The major components of agricultural solid waste are biodegradable organics. It's a major component, biodegradable organics. Then uncontrolled and improper handling can often lead to many situations where agricultural waste can become an environmental issues. So the major problem, management of agricultural waste, major component, biodegradable organics, the uncontrolled and improper handling is the environmental issues, create environmental issues. Then the sources of agricultural waste. After harvesting, large amount of agricultural waste are generated and left in the field for natural degradation. The natural degradation takes several months. The fresh organic waste materials cannot be applied to soil until they have been suitably stabilized, because function of immature organic materials to soil may influence plant growth due to nitrogen malnourishment and production of noxious metabolites, the toxic metabolites. Then the agricultural waste are disposed of simply by burning. Agricultural waste disposed of simply by burning in the field, the agricultural land area, which results loss of nutrients, as well as causes atmospheric pollution. The atmospheric pollution due to emission of large quantities of toxic gases. So in order to mitigate this problem, agricultural waste was pre-digested and utilized for the production of vermicompost, organic manure or vermicompost by using earthworms. It is one of the most excellent choice to deal with this problem, disposal of agricultural waste. The vermicomposting method This method enrich the compost with earthworms. It is the easiest method and also environment friendly method. It also used to do recycle agricultural waste and produce high quality compost. High quality compost. These are the some solid waste technologies or treatment processes. There are three major processes: biological processes, physical processes, chemical processes. The biological processes include aerobic and anaerobic. Now we will discuss about the aerobic digestion only, that is vermicomposting. The vermicomposting or aerobic digestion is an engineered natural process. It is a simple and a less capital intensive process. These are the some available solid waste management methods. So my topic mainly focus on vermicomposting, aerobic digestion. Vermicomposting is a biological process. It is a process of converting organic debris into worm casting. Worm casting. In Latin, vermi means worm. Composting, decomposed and recycled organic matter. So vermicomposting means process of converting organic waste into useful organic manure. This is vermicomposting. There are two types of decomposition. One is aerobic, anaerobic. Aerobic means in the presence of oxygen, the organic waste materials, or agricultural waste material decomposed into useful organic manure. This is aerobic digestion. Biological decomposition of organic substances in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic means in the absence of oxygen. Biological decomposition of organic substances in the absence of oxygen. This is anaerobic. This is a method of aerobic decomposition. The raw materials, the important raw materials for aerobic decomposition are waste material. Waste material means agricultural waste or horticultural waste. Earthworm is the most important one, earthworm. And then water. Waste material, earthworm, water is the most important raw material for vermicomposting process. During the vermicomposting process, these are the products evolved: water, heat, and some amount of carbon dioxide. This is the final product, vermicompost. It is environmentally friendly alternative to chemical fertilizer. It also improves soil structures, also provides nutrients to soil. This is a simple process. Decomposition in the presence of oxygen. Then there are two types of vermicomposting methods. One is small scale vermicomposting, small scale, and the second one large scale method, small scale, large scale. The large scale method is used for commercial purpose to produce 50 to 100 tons of vermicompost annually. The small scale vermicomposting is a personal requirement. In this method, the annual production rate is 5 to 10 tons. 5 to 10. So it is small scale, large scale method. Next, method of production of vermicompost. The two important vermicomposting process, Windrow method, pit method. This is Windrow method. In the Windrow method, it is the process of composting by piling organic matter or biological waste in long rows in a open land. Long rows. This is a Windrow method. The windrows are usually 2 to 3 meter high and 4 to 5 meter wide. Wide 4 to 5. Height 2 to 3. And the long about 30 to 40 meter. 40 meter long. This is the Windrow method. And another one, pit method. In the pit method, we can use a concrete tank. Tank of 12 feet length and 4 feet width and 2 feet height. Is a conventional dimension of the concrete tank. 12 feet length, 4 feet width, and 2 feet height. So this is a Windrow method, this is a pit method. These are the materials required for vermicomposting. So in this title, we will discuss only about pit method. These are the materials required for this process. Bedding materials, biodegradable waste, earthworms, cow dung, covering mesh, water, and then sieving mesh. These are the materials required for vermicomposting. Some facts about earthworm. Earthworm have no teeth. The earthworms do not have teeth. No grit to break down, so no teeth, need grit to break down food. Their food is softened by moisture. So no teeth, so their food is softened by moisture or by microorganisms which break it down. So the moisture or microorganism break down its food into soft. And the worms do not have eyes, no eyes, but they are photosensitive. Worms have a sensory receptor in their skin, so it is photosensitive. And also the worms have 5 hearts. There are 5 hearts. These are the some facts about earthworms. And the why earthworms are needed for a vermicomposting process. Why earthworms? First, selection of right kinds of earthworms. The earthworms mainly used for the decomposition of dead plants and animals and breakdown into the soil. So decomposition of the dead plants and animals. This is the main use of earthworms. The earthworms supply an abundance of organic fertilizers. For example, one worm weigh about 0.5 to 0.6 grams. It consumes waste almost equal to its body weight and producing cast of about the same weight in a day. Same weight in a day. So 0.5 to 0.6 gram earthworms consumes the same amount of waste and the same weight of waste also produced by a earthworm. So number of earthworms are available, but the most widely used earthworm is Endrillus eugenia. This is the most widely used earthworm for vermicomposting process because it grows faster than other species. It accumulating masses at the rate of 12 milligram per day. The maturity is attained over a period of 40 days. Therefore, this type of worms, Endrillus eugenia, are called as manure worms. This is the manure worms. The Endrillus eugenia grown on animal dung, poultry droppings, vegetables, and other kinds of biodegradable waste. So, the Endrillus eugenia is the most widely used earthworms for vermicomposting purpose. The picture shows the Endrillus eugenia earthworms. Next important raw material, cow dung. Cow dung. The cow dung provides microbes. The microbes which accelerate the decomposition process. Microwave accelerate the decomposition process. They contain, cow dung contain several cellulose and a lignin. It's a polymeric material, lignin, degrading the microbes which help in the initial degradation. And also the cow dung used for the feeding material, first feeding material for the earthworms. The earthworms first start feeding on the cow dung and then go on to feed the waste material. So cow dung, one of the important raw material. Then sievening mesh. Sievening means mechanical separation of the metal, glass, plastic, and ceramics. So separate the unfinished coarse particle in the vermicomposting. It's the main use of sievening mesh. Then process, steps involved in the vermicomposting process. First, collection of raw material, gathering, then mixing of materials, mixing of agricultural waste, water, earthworms, and cow dung. That is mixing of materials. Then pre-decomposition, then vermicomposting, then factors maintained during the process, then harvesting and sieving, and then storing. First, the collection of materials. The agricultural waste are allowed to partial decomposition for 10 days. Partial decomposition for 10 days to remove pathogenic microorganism and toxic gases. This is the first steps involved in the vermicomposting process. Collection of agricultural waste. Then mixing. The agricultural waste are mixed with the cow dung in the 3:1 ratio. 3:1 ratio. Cow dung used for the food for microbes present in the waste, and the microbes accelerate the decomposition process and increase the earthworm population. Earthworm population. This is the collection of agricultural waste. Straw, sugarcane waste, the picture shows the collection of agricultural waste. The next process, pre-decomposition or pre-digestion. It involves the digestion of waste material for 20 days by heaping along with the cow dung and the chopped dried leafy materials mixed in the proportion of 3:1. So the dried waste material, cow dung, mixed in 3:1 ratio. This process partially digests the material and fit for earthworm consumption. This is a pre-decomposition. The pre-decomposition also destroys the pathogens present in the material and also kill the seeds, and reduce the heat in feedstock. So this is the purpose of pre-decomposition. Destroy pathogens, partially digest the material, kill seeds, reduce the heat. Then the pit size. Pit size. The first layer. First layer means bedding material. This is the first layer. This is the vermi pit, a concrete tank. The first layer filled up to 2 inches with the bedding materials. Bedding materials like some straw materials, straw. This is the first layer. Then the bedding material dampen the bed by sprinkling water. Sprinkling water. And then second layer, it is also 2 inches thick. consisting of soil. The first layer, bedding material, second layer, sand, 2 inches height. And then third layer is the earthworm food. The food means cow dung and pre-decomposed waste material is the food for earthworm. Third layer, cow dung food. Earthworm food. Cow dung, mixture of cow dung and pre-decomposed agricultural waste in the ratio 1:3. Cow dung and agricultural waste 1:3. This is the third layer. Its height, the height of the third layer, 6 to 8 inches. And then release about 1 kilogram earthworms on the top without hurting them. Without hurting, that's an important factor, without hurting them. These earthworms will start penetrating to the bottom. After 12 hours, it will sleep. After 12 hours, it will sleep. During daytime, it will not work. Only night time, it will work. Once all the earthworms disappears means penetrated into the agricultural waste and cow dung. Once all the earthworm disappears, cover the surface with jute bags or straw. It's the fourth layer. First layer, bedding material. Second layer, biodegradable waste, sand. And third layer, food for earthworms, cow dung, mixture of cow dung and agricultural waste. The fourth layer, releasing of earthworms. All the earthworms penetrated into the slurry mix. The pit covered by gunny bags or straw material. And then and the entire setup, keep them wet by sprinkling water, not waste, water. Sprinkling water. This is the cross section of vermipit. The first layer, bedding material, then sand and biodegradable waste, and then earthworm, then vermicompost or humus. This is the vermiwash, the useful biodegradable liquid material. That's the vermiwash. Humus or vermicompost. The picture showed the cross section of vermipit. It's a natural picture of the vermicompost pit. Cement tank. It consists of bedding material, sand, biodegradable waste, cow dung, water, earthworms, and covering mesh. Then the movement of earthworm in the pit. This picture showed the movement. This is matured vermicompost on the top of the vermi pit. Matured vermicompost. This is sieving tool. Separate the unfinished material from the vermicompost. This shows the vermicompost after sieving. This tank indicates the vermi wash tank. This is collection of vermi wash, liquid organic manure or vermi wash. Next, key factors to vermicomposting process. Carbon nitrogen ratio, surface area and particle size, porosity, aeration, moisture content, temperature, pH. These are the some key factors. First, carbon nitrogen ratio. The carbon nitrogen ratio, the range between 25:1 to 40:1. Above 40:1, the carbon nitrogen ratio above 40:1, not enough food for microbial population. Below 40:1, the nitrogen lost as ammonia to produce ammonia adder. So the carbon nitrogen ratio range between 40:1. Above 40:1, not enough food for microbial population. Below 40:1, the nitrogen gas, ammonia gas is evolved. Then surface area and particle size. The smaller particle size expose more surface area. The smaller particle size expose more surface area to the action of microorganism. Smaller particle size, more surface area. Then porosity. The optimum porosity range 35% to 50%. The above 35%, above 50% porosity, energy lost is greater than heat produced. So during the vermicomposting process, heat is also produced. So above 50% porosity, the energy lost is greater than the heat produced during the process. The porosity less than 35%, anaerobic digestion takes place. Similarly, the aeration. The airflow needs directly proportional to the biological activity. The airflow directly proportional to biological activity or the degradation process. And the oxygen concentration less than 5%, anaerobic digestion takes place. So aeration above 5%, porosity 35 to 50%. Then the another important one, moisture content. moisture content. Water and moisture is the major factor influences the growth and reproduction of earthworms. So moisture is one of the most important factor in the vermicomposting process. The optimum water content 50 to 70%. Less than 50% composting slows due to microbial dissociation. Less than 50% microbial dissociation desiccation takes place, not dissociation, desiccation. Above 70% fermentation takes place, anaerobic condition above 70. So the optimum water content 50 to 70. Then temperature, the optimum temperature range 25 to 60%, 60 degrees Celsius. The optimum temperature range 25 to 60 degrees Celsius. Above 60 degree, temperatures above 60 degree will kill pathogens and parasites. Below 60 degree, 25 degree, the composting bit indicate that more oxygen or moisture is needed. Decreasing temperature in the composting bit indicates the more oxygen or moisture is needed. So only the optimum temperature 25 to 60 degree achieved by regulating airflow by turning the waste material. So the optimum temperature for vermicomposting process ranges from 25 to 60 degrees Celsius. Is also an important factor. And pH, optimum pH 6.5 to 7.5. 6.5 to 7.5. In this range, the bacterial activity dominates. Below pH 6.5, fungi dominate over bacteria. So composting can be inhibited. So below 6.5, fungi dominates and composting can be inhibited. Above 7.5, ammonia gas can be generated. So microbial population decline and the growth of earthworms decreased. So the optimum pH range 6.5 to 7.5. Then next step, harvesting the compost. When the raw material is entirely decomposed, so after adding all the bio waste, earthworms, all the raw materials is entirely decomposed, it appears black in color and granular size. Granular and black. So at this time, the watering should be stopped. Watering stopped. The pit is kept open to air and the sun for 1 day. So all the entire agricultural waste, the raw material is decomposed. The watering should be stopped and the pit is open to air and the sun for 1 day. And then the material is sieved using mechanical method. Sieved mechanical method. Finally, the compost is stored in a polythene bags. The cocoons are collected after sieving. Once stored in a polythene bags, it is readily available for agricultural purpose. After washing the entire pit, then the pit is again used for the further process. This is the raw material, this is the earthworms, this is the final product, organic manure or vermicompost. Next, the converting ratio. 1 kilogram of earthworms, 1 kilogram contain approximately 60 to 600 to 1000 numbers of earthworms. 1 kilogram convert 25 to 45 kg of waste per week. 1 kilogram worms into 25 to 45 kilogram of waste per week. So 1 ton waste produce 600 kilogram vermicompost. 1 ton waste converted to 600 gram vermicompost. The compost recovery around 25 kilogram per week under well-managed condition. Well-managed condition means temperature, moisture, pH, and other essential factors. For producing 1 ton manure, 3 ton waste materials are needed. To produce 1 ton, 3 ton waste materials are needed. The entire decomposition, a conversion process, may take about 75 to 180 days, depending on the various factors. And 1 pit may use it for 4 to 5 times in a year. So the entire process 75 to 180 days. The 1 pit used for minimum 4 to 5 times in a year. These are some physicochemical analysis of agricultural waste based vermicompost. The pH, these are some physicochemical parameters. pH, electrical conductivity, total gel nitrogen, TKN, total phosphorus, total potassium, total organic carbon, TOC, carbon nitrogen ratio. So physicochemical analysis of vermicompost. In the vermicomposting process, these are the products obtained. The first layer, vermicompost, that is organic manure, organic fertilizer or humus, and then the liquid organic manure, vermiwash, and then earthworms. During the vermicomposting process, the number of earthworms also increased. These are the products obtained in a vermicomposting process. This is a solid material, vermicompost solid. This is a liquid organic manure, and then earthworms. After the process, the earthworms in the pit is harvested by trapping method. After the process is completed, the earthworm is harvested by trapping method. In this method, before harvesting the compost, small fresh cow dung ball shaped cow dung is made and inserted inside the bed in 5 or 6 places. So after the collection of vermicompost, small fresh cow dung ball is made and inserted inside the pit. After 24 hours, the cow dung ball is removed. All the worms will be adhered into the ball, into the cow dung ball. Then putting the cow dung ball in a bucket of water will separate the adhered worms. The collected worms will be used for the next process, further process. This is also another way of income from the vermicompost. So a kilogram of worms is sold at rupees 350. Then another product, Vermi wash, is a liquid material obtained from the vermicomposting process. It is also known as liquid organic fertilizer. Vermi wash as liquid organic fertilizer. This liquid partially comes from the body of earthworms and rich in amino acids, vitamins, nutrients like nitrogen, potassium, magnesium, zinc, calcium, iron, and copper. Some growth hormones like auxins and cytokinin. It is also contains plenty of nitrogen fixing and phosphate solubilizing bacteria. So vermiwash is also a useful product obtained from the vermicomposting process. So there are 3 products: vermicompost, vermiwash, earthworms. Next, the nutrient content of vermicompost. The vermicompost contains a wide range of nutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and other nutrients. These nutrients are readily available in the vermicompost. Then there's some good characteristics of good vermicompost. The fully decomposed and mature organic manure with the carbon nitrogen ratio is 20:1. 20:1 carbon ratio is for good vermicompost. And also, good vermicompost contains essential plant nutrients. And also rich in secondary and micronutrients and rich in millions of beneficial bacteria like N-fixer, and also rich in humus, humic and fulvic acid, and rich in vitamins and growth regulators. This is the ratio. Enzymes in the vermicompost. This is the easily accessible form of nutrients and suitable for any types of soil, the green color. And then the blue shows non-toxic, environmental friendly and ecologically compatible. Then the benefits of vermicompost: physical benefits, chemical benefits, biological benefits. In the case of physical benefits, the vermicompost improved soil structure, and reduce the density, increase the permeability, resist compaction, increased water level, water holding capacity, and then the chemical benefits like modify and stabilizes pH of the soil, increase cation exchange capacity of the soil, increase the enable soils to retain nutrients longer, and reduces nutrient leaching. These are some chemical benefits of the vermicompost. And then in the case of biological benefits, it provides soil biota, that is healthier soils. Soil becomes healthier and suppress plant diseases. These are the benefits of vermicompost. Some examples of vermicomposting farms in India. These are the vermicomposting farms available in India. So, conclusion of this session: the agricultural waste is no hesitation organic waste, because it is purely biodegradable. Hence, it can be used for composting. So, no hesitation. And then cow dung is easily accessible material in rural area. If it is added with the waste, microbial activity increases and oxidation of organic matter takes place in faster rate and stabilized within shorter period. Also, cow dung adds a nutrient to the compost. Cow dung is also used in a rural area as a manure itself. Cow dung itself used as a manure. It also adds nutrient to the compost. Thus, increases the quality of the final compost. Vermicomposting is the best method in which agricultural waste can be recycled. Best method for recycling of agricultural waste. The recycling is truly an eco-friendly technology through which one can convert all organic waste into a product. The product is rich in nutrient content and can replace chemical fertilizers. The vermicompost can replace chemical fertilizers. The earthworms virtually stand alone as a symbol of clean technology in the field of organic waste transformation, and also stand alone as a representation of sustainable organic agricultural technology. So earthworms. From the research, one can safely conclude that the vermicompost carried out by these worms was safe for agriculture use, and would be very beneficial for increasing the productivity of our crops by using natural fertilizers rather than chemical fertilizers. These are some publication in the field of vermicomposting technology. So one more topic, the continuation of our research work. Growth of SRI rice cultivation using organic manure prepared from agricultural waste. SRI means system rice intensification. SRI rice. So SRI means system rice intensification. The picture shows water scarcity. What is the solution for this? Water scarcity, methane emission, chemical fertilizer. All these are removed by only vermicompost, that is organic fertilizer or humus, worm casting. The only solution for this problem, vermicompost. The vermicompost, from the vermicompost, the soil absorbs certain important nutrients. The cation exchange capacity. It is the soil capacity to absorb certain important nutrients. It is the amount of exchangeable cations in the soil. The ion exchange capacity is the important to soil fertility. For soil fertility, IEC is an important one. So the SRI rice using organic manure reduce these three. This water scarcity, methane emission, and increase the yield, and also protect environment, the eco-friendly environment. The SRI rice using organic manure reduce the water scarcity and methane emission, increase the yield of the crop, and protect our environment. This research work conducted at Kadalur district, Virthachalam Taluk, Paralur village. This is the soil status of the area. The soil pH 6.527, organic matter 0.002%, very low. Available nitrogen low, available phosphorus medium level, available potash also medium. There is a rice cropping calendar in Tamil Nadu. December to January, Navarai, April to May, Swarnavari, July to August, yearly Samba, August Samba. May to June, Kharif, December to January, Rabi. Some cropping calendars. This table shows the system of cultivation between SRI rice, SRI, and conventional method. SRI method and conventional method. Conventional method means using chemical fertilizer. This is the SRI method using organic manure. In the SRI method, the seeding rate, this is the seeding rate, 2 to 3 kilogram per hectare. The conventional method, 50 to 75 kilogram per hectare. It's a nursery area, 1 cent per acre. Here 5 cent. Age of seedling, 8 to 12 days. 30 days. It's a seeding age at the transplanting days, 14 days. Here 29 days. Spacing, this is a spacing dimension. Planting depth, 1 centimeter, here 3 centimeter. It's a plant hill, hills per square meter. Weeding, the SRI method, mechanical method, here manual, chemical. The water management, this is the important one. In the SRI method, keep soil moist at all panicle initiation stage. But in the conventional method, continuous irrigation takes place. In the SRI method, organic manure are used. Here, chemical fertilizer. This is a cultivation of rice. Description for cultivation of rice. Conventional method and SRI method. The kind of fertilizer used, applied 50 kilogram per bag, 4 bags, that is 200 kilogram. The SRI method, 2 bags of 50 kilogram, only 100 kilogram are essential. The irrigation applied by 15 days interval, 2 hours 37 minutes. The conventional method. Here, the time is reduced, irrigation time reduced, 1 hour 34 minutes. Finally, the rice yield, the conventional method, 360 kilograms. 360 kilograms. Here 440 kilograms. 440. The yield also increased. The picture shows the SRI rice nurseries, mat nursery, then sowing seeds, covering the beds with the paddy straw and watering through a rose can. The rice seedling after 3 days, and then shifting of rice seedling, and then transplanting single seedling. This is the root growth. This is the conventional method, conventional nurseries. After 30 to 60 days old, seedling ready for transplantation. This is the method of transplanting in the SRI rice method. This is the field. This is the size of the row, 25 centimeter, 25 centimeter. This is a seedling are transplanted. Next, growth stages of rice. Seedling, transplanting, the maximum number of tillers, flowering, panicle initiation, and then final stage, harvest. This is the SRI rice field. The distance between one row to another 25 centimeter. This is a conventional field. This is SRI field, conventional field. In the SRI method, young seedling are transplanted at 8 to 12 days old. And the seeding rate 5 to 7 kilogram per hectare. In the conventional method, the 40 days old seedling are transplanted. Here 8 to 12 days, here 40 days. The seedling rate 50 to 75 kilogram per hectare. This is a conventional method. This is SRI method. Number of seedling in the conventional method, 1 to 2 seedling per hill are transplanted with the shallow depth 1 to 2 centimeter into the soil, and that are not flooded. In the conventional method, 4 to 7 seedling, even 7 to 8 are clumped and pressed deep into the flooded soil. Flooded soil. Then spacing of plants. So already told the spacing 25 centimeter and 25. Here in the conventional method, 10 to 15 centimeter. Then this is important one, water management. The conventional method, continuous flooding of paddy fields with 5 to 15 centimeter of water throughout the growing cycle. But in the case of SRI field, non-flooded aerobic soil condition, So required small amount of water. That is alternate wetting and drying during the growth period. This is conventional method. This is SRI method. Nutrient management. This is a nitrogen parameters. Organic manure. In the SRI method, using organic manure. But in the case of conventional method, using chemical fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers. Next, weed and pest control. In the SRI method, cono weeders can remove weeds and aerate the topsoil at the same time. Cono weeders. This is the cono weeder. So generally, SRI plants are more resistant to pest and the diseases. In the conventional field, manual weeders cannot be used in randomly planted fields. Here, some herbicides are employed in the conventional method. This is a method of using cono weeder in the SRI field. Then the vermi wash obtained from the vermicomposting process is also used as a pesticide, liquid fertilizer, liquid vermi wash is used as a pesticide in the case of SRI field. It's an optimum pH. And the comparison of root growth. This is a conventional method. Conventional. The second one, SRI method. This is the length of root growth. The humic acid present in the vermicompost help in establishing healthier roots and increase the yield. Is a humic acid, responsibility of humic acid in the vermicompost. So calcium ions in the humus particles combine with the clay to strengthen the root of the SRI rice. Next, a comparison of plant height. This is SRI rice using organic manure. This is plant height of rice using chemical fertilizer. Next, tillers of rice. This is a tillers of SRI rice. This is chemical fertilizer. Using chemical fertilizer. So here larger number in the SRI rice. Next, growth of panicle using organic fertilizer in SRI. The larger growth. So number is very low and compared to SRI rice using organic fertilizer. In the chemical fertilizer, the supplied nutrients are not completely absorbed by the plant. Some of the nutrients contaminated to the groundwater and some are evaporated. So absorbed by the groundwater and some of them evaporated. This is the loss of chemical fertilizer. Using chemical fertilizer, loss of nutrient using chemical fertilizer. So nutrient applied by using chemical fertilizer, this much amount absorbed by the plant in the case of chemical fertilizer. There is the loss of nutrient using chemical fertilizer. Due to the nutrient deficiency, the figure shows the color of a leaf. This is due to nutrient deficiency using chemical fertilizer. Organic fertilizer, using organic fertilizer, confirm the 100% nutrient efficiency. 100%. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, other nutrients, minerals. The chemical organic fertilizer also increases the biological activity of the soils. There is a comparison of biological activity using chemical fertilizer and organic fertilizer. The figure shows the conventional field. This is a SRI field. These are the comparison of parameters between SRI and conventional methods. When compared to chemical fertilizer, all the factors are increased using SRI method. The panicle height, number of tillers, panicle length, panicle weight, filled grain per panicle, grain yield, and straw yield. These are rice growth parameters, yield parameters using organic fertilizer and chemical fertilizer, grain yield, straw yield, harvest index, water productivity. The cultivation cost. when compared to SRI, the expenditure cost is very high in the case of conventional method. 17,900 per acre. Here 7,208 per acre. So from the conclusion part, the SRI methods are not only beneficial for people, but also for the natural habitat and biodiversity. This method can contribute to both better soil and water quality and improved soil health and human health. The SRI method offers three major benefits that have significant climate implication if applied on a large scale. Reduced demand for water, reduced methane gas emission, reduced use of chemical fertilizer. These are the three major benefits. Reduced the demand for water, reduced the methane gas emission, reduced the use of chemical fertilizer. These are some application in the field of SRI rice. So any questions from participants?
Yes, sir, thank you for your nice presentation, sir. This forum is open to a questionnaire session from the participant sides. Actually, very informative session, sir. What are the materials we can compost through vermicomposite and can be utilized for agriculture purposes and all? Very informative. And let the participants to work in this area also. The participants are requested to post their questions in chat box or to raise to sir directly.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. This is Priyadarshini from Vailtech Engineering College.
Yes, madam.
Sir, actually, I am not a chemistry staff, or I am a electronics engineering staff.
Okay, madam.
I have a doubt, sir. Just a simple doubt. Is it possible to prepare vermicompost from home, sir, using vegetable waste and all?
Yes, madam. The suitable area and the materials are available. We can prepare in our home also.
Okay, sir. But in
But
homes and all,
maintain
we don't have that pit and all. That is that area and all. How can we prepare it in home, sir? Is it any possible ways to prepare in home by personally for that is for home purpose gardens and all?
Yes, madam.
How is it possible, sir? How can we?
So yeah, the land area is available. Just a cement tank
Okay, sir.
and then the waste material, earthworms.
Okay.
All the essential material are available. You can prepare the vermicompost.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
But
Thank you so much.
maintain all the essential conditions: temperature, water level, and pH, earthworms.
Okay, sir.
You,
because I am
madam.
unaware of the conditions and all, what pH level that and all, those things and all we have studied in our school days.
Okay, madam.
We don't know. I don't have any idea about that. That's why I asked, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you, thank you. So, any other questions? No questions. Okay, madam.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice
madam.
participation along with us. and share your research area, and also motivate the participant to work. Actually, madam has asked, Priyadashini madam has asked to work in that small area also, whatever we can do in our home itself. So this is the forum we can inspire the participants. What can we do for the sustainable need of the society? So that is the main focus of this FDP. So each and every resource person is sharing their research work and all the documents and materials, whatever the ideas they are having, they are sharing. And interestingly, the participants also with more focused, they are enriching their resource persons as well as their research area to work forward this. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice presentation and precious time which you have shared with us. Thanks for the cooperation to the participants also. Thank you, sir. So request the participants to connect with you at sharply 2 o'clock for the next resource person, Dr. N. Gobi from Anna University, Chennai. Thank you all.